looking out on that. Talking of brutality in society, I have a copy of Shobha De's new book, Sethji, and the new imprint. First of all, let's talk about this imprint, because I was asking you yesterday, what is an imprint? Please explain to our audience.
Well, I am just so proud. I have to get up and do this because I want to show off a little. The Jaipur Lit Fest has been kind enough to host this launch of my imprint. It's called the Shobha De book, and it is an honor for me. It's a Shobha De book with the penguin umbrella, and I will be handpicking authors and titles and books. We're launching the imprint with the Kareena Kapoor style guide, primarily for those who look at Kareena Kapoor as a style icon. A lot of young India does. And following it up, we have a book out which is on divorce. It's called Breaking Up. It's written by our foremost divorce lawyer, Mrinalini Deshmukh, who has handled a lot of sensitive celebrity cases. And the third book is the biography, a definitive biography of Adi Godrej, one of our extremely courageous and individualistic captains of industry who I respect and know very well. So it's a privilege for me to be here launching the Shobha De imprint, and I ask for your support for all the titles that I'm going to roll out. And Sethji, of course, we'll go back to discussing the book that is already in print, and I understand doing rather well.
And this is Sethji, talking about brutality in society. Boy, you get it in this book. It is about power. It's about an old man who wields immense power, and his cronies who also wield immense power. But at the heart of it, there is this column of ice. There is a woman called Amrita, with a hugely interesting study, a psychological study, a woman character. She's called Amrita. She has a penchant for fast cars and fetid sex. But there is much more to her than that, and I would ask you to please read perhaps a page. Would you like to read a page? No, just a page. No.
I think books really should be read. They're so private, and to do a public reading. In any case, authors have been turned into performing fleas, and this is just one more addition to the performing flea task of having to read. I would much rather that we talk and that we take questions from the audience. Those who are interested enough will buy the book and read it for themselves. They don't need me to read it today.
Okay.
Thank you.
Point
Thanks
taken.
very much.
Point taken. Well, let me then...
You guys are okay with that, right? Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, then let me ask you this question. Are you the ice queen in this?
You know, I'm very, very curious as to why women are asked the most intrusive questions about the characters in their novels. Never men. No one ever asks a guy who's written a political thriller like this is.
Men are just not interesting.
Really? Men are just not interesting. He said it. No, they never ask, are you that character? And have you lived through those experiences? Is it just imagination? I think there's such a vicarious thrill in knowing about women's lives.
Of course.
Let the mystery remain. I'm not going to tell you.
There you are. There you have it. She's not going to tell me. Okay, look, well, if you're not going to read a bit, I'm going to read 2 lines from it. Just 2 lines, so bear with me till I put my specs on. At one point you say, on page 77, you say, let me tell you something that my stupid sons don't understand. In our political world, you don't have friends, only contacts. Arun Mehta is a contact, nothing more. He needs me, I need him. No favors. Anyone can betray you. Family is the only thing to depend on. Wow. That's kind of a bleak view. Is that how it is in those circles?
We live in bleak times, Ashok. It can't get any worse, at least I hope not. And what we see around us has, I'm sure, disturbed every thinking person with a conscience in India. And the complete disintegration of any kind of moral code within politics. We don't even expect our politicians to be honest anymore. And that is such a telling comment. We've become so cynical. We're becoming so accepting of the fact that, of course, oh, so Neta hai, how can he possibly be not corrupt? He has to be a corrupt guy. So in that sense, Sethji, who stayed in my head for 13 long years and refused to go away, an obstinate fellow, till he found his voice and life within the pages of the book. It's symbolic of all that is wrong, it's all that is terrible, all that we feel contempt for and disdain and disdainful about. And that is, we all use our own ways of expressing that. We may be having a dining room conversation and talk about the very same issues. But there are thousands of Sethjis in our midst today. Almost every second person you meet within the ruling class could very easily be the protagonist of this book.
I was just going to say that one of the reasons why we love your books is the fact that we know there is a ring of authenticity, because we know you do have access to these worlds, you move in these worlds in a way that we don't. So when you put them down, we have a suspicion that this is really how it is. Now this novel is very highly colored. The plot is almost Byzantine. And you make the point later on in the book that life is like a film, and film is like life. I mean, 2-3 times you say that towards the end. Now, is this really how it is? Is this, I'm just asking you.
Ashok, at the moment, what we are living through, what we are seeing, even Bollywood couldn't script it better or worse. Because there are times when you wonder, is it life borrowing from art, is it art borrowing from life? Or are we just there as chroniclers holding up mirrors to the world we live in, to the society we exist in, and telling our stories in our own different ways? And as a storyteller, my primary objective is to tell a good story. It's not a message book. I'm not here to preach and say, but it certainly is a book that comes up with a lot of very uncomfortable truths, and most of us are aware of those truths. If there's anybody who's living in denial in India today, it's not us, it's the ruling class. They don't want to acknowledge that change has taken place. Cataclysmic change has taken place. The young in India cannot and will not be fooled anymore. All the kids who are present here today, you try telling them something that is an obvious untruth. They are not going to accept it, and they're not going to look at Sarkar as my baap. They're not. They are there in a free country, in a democracy, aware of their rights, aware of their position, and willing to actually go out there and fight for it. This is something very new. It has a lot to do with the new India. It has a lot to do with changing socio-economic contours of the country. The fact that there are many more educated middle class in India, and also that over 70% of India happens to be very young. It's a young nation, a young aspirational nation with very restless and impatient and increasingly angry youth. They are not going to sit back and take it lying down.
So you think there will be agents for change? Do you see
absolutely,
change?
Absolutely. I mean, the 2014 election is going to be the tipping point as far as I can see. And unless the young in the country get more proactive, get more involved, we are going to be stuck perhaps with a system that we have mentally rejected a long time ago. But this is the time to make sure that it doesn't remain just in the head, that we go out there and vote for people with the lots that we have, but we vote for change and make sure that the change happens. Otherwise, for the next 50 years, we're going to be doing ourselves a disservice. We'll be doing the next generation a huge disservice.
Speaking out on that. Talking of brutality in society, this, I have a copy of Shobha De's new book, Sethji, and the new imprint. First of all, let's talk about this imprint, because I was asking you yesterday, what is an imprint? Please explain to our audience.
Well, I am just so proud. I have to get up and do this because I want to show off a little. The Jaipur Lit Fest has been kind enough to host this launch of my imprint. It's called the Shobha De book, and it is an honor for me. It's a Shobha De book with the penguin umbrella, and I will be handpicking authors.